It seems like just last night we spoke. I'm interested. You talk about putting the disappointment, the frustration, the anger, whatever it is behind you when there's a game quickly and finding a way to get past it. There's that frustration of the game being called off and being all ready for it. How do you actually go about doing that? What have you learned over the years that helps you to put it behind you and not let it affect you and not take it home with you?
My chagrin was not invoked last night, and you know that. No, it's just as you get older, you get accustomed to just trying to deal with things that are in your control and that you can have some kind of influence on. And it was disappointing, just one having to go all the way to Sheffield. That was disappointing, and then it's affected how we've trained this week in preparation for the game. And what you've got a lot of lads who were all coiled up like a spring last night with nowhere to go there. So we've just got to be mindful in training today that we don't go a little bit overboard on that, which we've got experienced coaches to deal with that. And then our focus then it's a quick shift, but it has to shift very definitely to Cambridge.
Do you think it's easier for you and Jimmy and John Doolan, who've got loads of experience in the game, to move on and be flexible and change the plans than maybe for a player who's in his early 20s?
Possibly, yeah. And as I said, they've built up their tried to peak their energy levels for last night, so we're mindful of that. But we'll have a good session today. I'm confident of that, and then all the focus then shifts to Saturday, and Cambridge will pose their own problems to the good side.
When you talk about going home after a game, from an away game, for example, you'll sometimes say, managers will sometimes say, we put that behind us, on the way home we'll be talking about the next game. Is that the way it is when you come away from a game that's been postponed, or do you consciously try and talk about or do something else that's not football related?
It's a bit of both, really. I know when we drop John off, he's always made up when we haven't been beat, so he saw it as a win. But you're already aware that you've got to do some prep work for Cambridge during the week anyway, so that has been ongoing. So we have been speaking about that, but I thought they did well when they came here. I thought that was a game that could have gone either way, really. And they've had some impressive results. Took to League One really well, and I always say, it sounds a bit cliche, but every team in this league poses you problems, and you just got to be able to deal with it.
It's not that long since you were making that step from League Two to League One.
Feels ages ago, but
there's been a lot happened since, that's for sure. We talk about gaps between leagues and steps up and stuff. Teams promoted from League Two into League One tend to do pretty well. Why is that, do you think?
I think possibly because they're on the crest of a wave. They're used to winning games. Players want to step up and do well. The adrenaline kicks in as well for them. And clubs seem to want to have a good tilt at it. And clubs, have done well in the past and gone up and up. And because there's so many big clubs in this league, you're generally going to get a big club coming back in at some point, you know what I mean? Which was the case with Paul. I've said it all along, I might just sound biased, but I think it's the most concertina league with no real standout ones. That I know Rotherham are 9 points clear, but they're not far and away, like on a different league playing wise to other teams in the league, and there's no one who are caught adrift drastically who can't perform at the bottom end. So it's an exciting league.
I think there's a big group of teams, including yourselves, in the 40s, in the middle of that table, and then Cambridge are one of those kind of in the late 30s, just below you. There's a lot of football still to play, as demonstrated by postponements and catching games up and stuff. Could it be dramatically different in 2 months' time when you've played 7 or 8 games?
I think so. I think there's going to be a couple of teams who go on a good run. there's going to be a couple of teams who go on a bad one. And you've just got to try and keep your performances consistent. If your performances are consistent and you're lucky with injuries and suspensions, you can pick up the amount of points you require. It's when things go against you, you lose players through injury, you have bad decisions, your levels of performances drop, the pitches change and you find it difficult to cope with the pitches, and then all of a sudden you're looking where your next win's going to come from or your next point's going to come from. So you've just got to try and get that level of consistency and maintain it to the end of the season. I think there's a third of the season left for us, just about. So within 10 weeks you'll be preparing for next season, and I've already got half an eye next season anyway, so they do come thick and fast. It still feels as though this season, I don't know whether it's because we never had any fans last season, but it still feels as though within the opening stages of the season for me, it's weird. And we're on the home straight now, and it's never felt like that in the past.
You talked about getting to that 50, 52, somewhere in that region points mark so that you can plan for next season. Are you close enough now to be kind of entertaining ideas for next year and League One football for next year, or is that tempting fate?
No chance. I've been on the block a few times. I know that you can't. That's only loss. If you need 52 points, you need 52 points. No point at 43 saying we've got them, we haven't. And points that can be gained are never gained till you've got them. It always amazed me. I remember last year when we had 4 or 5 games in hand and everyone saying, "Oh well, you'll get that." Sometimes games in hand just damage your goal difference. And it always baffles me when teams think, "Oh, 3 games in hand equates to 9 points or 6 points." And I know I speak to plenty of managers, and those with 3 games in hand would bite your hands off for 5 points. So, as I said, the games that we play, I think we've got 15 games left now. They're all going to be tough, and we've just got to try and compete in them and try and get, 10 points from somewhere.
You've got back-to-back wins before this. I don't think you've won 3 games on the spin in the league since it was the opening 2 weeks of the season in August. What does that say about this league and your team?
I'm pleased that we've done it in this season, and I didn't realise we'd done it this season. It's difficult. Any manager will tell you it's difficult to get 3 wins on a bounce, wherever you're in the league and whatever league you're in. So, unless you're Liverpool or Man City, it's only anybody else that can harbour hopes of doing that on a regular basis.
But I guess you're talking about how close the league is. The impact of winning 2-3 games in a row, it's huge. It's frightening. When teams you can go on, as you say, go on a good 5, 6, 7 game run, they catapult up the table. We talked about personnel, obviously, before the Sheffield Wednesday game. Are you in exactly the same situation as you would have been at Hillsborough going to the Abbey Stadium? Obviously, Sykes' suspension will carry over to Doncaster now.
Yabs was out yesterday, so that'll give him a few more days to recover. Coley was sick yesterday, so hopefully he'll be fit for Saturday as well.